thoughts, opinions, and general overall shade thrown on High at 9 News are those of the individual speakers and not those of High at 9 News, its audience, or its advertisers. The statements made do not constitute medical, legal, or financial advice, and for advice tailored to your specific situation, please consult with a licensed professional. Welcome to the High at 9 News Hour, where you will hear from cannabis industry experts and professionals from around the country talk about important topics while shining light on global issues and discussing cannabis as it relates to politics, regulation and reform, data and technology, science, research and medicine, family and parenting, art, celebrities and entertainment, fitness, sports, mental health and wellness, and plant-based medicines and entheogenics. Together, we are building a stronger community, fighting the stigma and creating change. With your hosts, Jason Beck and Rico Lamitte, joined by special industry expert correspondents from around the country, and daily antics brought to you by Cannabis. Coming to you live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time and high noon on the East Coast. And thank you all for getting high at 9 with us. Yeah. Good morning, everybody. That's right. It's Monday, 11/11. That's right. It's November 11th. And today is National Sunday Day, Rico. You know, have a scoop.
No, it was actually Monday.
No, it's National Sunday Day. It's also Veterans Day. Shout out to all the veterans out there. Thank you all so much for all that you've done for us. We appreciate you very much. Have anything to say about that, Rico? Okay. What's that?
I'm just fixing my camera over here. You know what I'm saying? I'm fixing my camera.
Oh, apparently you need some fixing. But nonetheless, thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us. It's also high noon on the East Coast. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe to us on all social media platforms. You can look up above or down below on your screen to see exactly where we live on the internet. And we are live every Monday through Friday on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and on our very own website at www.highat9news.com. So welcome to everyone joining us from any one of those platforms. And yes, kicking it off, that's right, we have the dope dad himself, Mr. Rico Lamitte, the professional gaslighter and the man whose story today is going to just, waft away and gaslight you all. That's right, it is the dope dad himself, Rico Lamitte.
Well, Jason, there's not much gaslighting in my story anymore, and I don't think Donald Trump is gaslighting anymore as he prepares on breaking us off with a little fire and brimstone to really bring us all together as a nation.
Yeah.
Can't wait. So President-elect Donald Trump will not return to the Oval Office for another 2 months. A lot can and will go down between now and then in an effort to reassure the American voting majority that they will be cashing in on Trump 2.0's campaign promises and will not be getting the watered down 2016 to 20 Trump OG varietal. This weekend, he broke them off. The little fire and brimstone speech. In a statement aired across social media networks, Trump unveiled what he called his plan to restore law and order. Now, this is something I think we all agree needs to be done. I mean, what kind of banana republic are we living in where a 34-count convicted felon, fraudster, and rapist was able to incompetently stumble his way back into the highest office of our land? Something's got to give. Donald Trump is the man to do it.
Oh, boy.
He said a lot of things in this wide-ranging, 5-minute-long weaving diatribe of a live post, so I highlighted the parts most relevant to us in the cannabis industry. In an effort to reverse Joe Biden and the defund the police Democrats existing war on police, Trump said that he'll be making a record investment into nationwide police hiring and training. This will not be a handout. Said investments will be quid pro quo in exchange for precincts that agreed to implement a new blanket immunity plan for police officers, protecting them from all liability. I guess we're just supposed to forget about Joe Biden's $5 billion discretionary blank check to enforcement agencies nationwide back in 2023, but that's old news. We're talking about Trump now. To qualify for the money, precincts must enforce his proposed nationwide stop and frisk mandate because I guess the Fourth Amendment is no longer valid either. His next proposal was something I don't really mind. He said that he plans on going after the, quote, radical left police offices, and he'd be giving small business owners that have been pillaged the ability to sue local enforcement agencies for harm and suffering, and they'll be entitled to massive damages for reported instances of refusal to protect their assets. Well, I still don't have much faith in local cops stepping up to protect legal cannabis businesses. If he does put something like this in place, a paper trail of accountability can be used to track officers and departments refusing to protect dispensaries from theft and robberies like they would any mainstream business over the last few years. Then finally, death penalties for drug dealers. A lot of you guys said that this was just rhetoric and he was just ratcheting this up in an effort to revel the base, but no, he is double, triple, and quadrupling down on it now. Perhaps Trump's most controversial proposal of this speech was mentioned twice in the 5-minute, 20-second clip. He said that implementing the death penalty for drug dealers is so important, direct quote, for stopping America's breakdown of law and order, and it's necessary to dismantle every cartel and illegal gang in our country. This is a clever point inserted by who I assume to be Stephen Miller writing this speech. It gives Trump an out and relieves him of the inevitable liability that'll come his way if cartels and illegal gangs aren't completely eradicated from our nation. And he'll be blaming any sort of failure to do so on the radical leftists who hate America, all because he was given the power to, because he was never given the power to fully enforce death upon all drug dealers involved. In the past, Trump's made several statements praising dictators that the authority to use the death penalty for their authority to use the death penalty at will. Now he says he'll be doing the same. Pretty normal stuff. Exit polls show that he did a great job of playing up America's emotionally driven, out of control violence while ignoring what real data revealed. Yes, it's true. Certain larger cities, LA being one of them, have been plagued by spikes in crime, and it needs to be addressed. But overall, the numbers are way down, especially in all the places that voted for him. It'll be very interesting to see how much of these policies actually make it into law, but given that we're not even a week removed from last week's election and still got another 2 months before inauguration, I think it's safe to say that Americans will not be getting any breaks from the drama between now and then. I'm Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on the street for High at 9 News. What are you guys' thoughts?
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Cop.
Mm-hmm.
What are you thoughts?
Go ahead, Matthew. Go ahead.
Jason's
You
cop,
did record.
cops.
What's that?
This is great because this is, if anybody remembers, I don't know about you, but in high school, one of the things my social studies and history teachers would always point out is how we're not Nazi Germany and how we're not the Soviet Union. And you can freely travel in America without ever having to furnish paperwork to the authorities, provided you're not breaking the law. This is great because it brings us in line with the Gestapo and Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union and other right-wing authoritarian dictatorships. That's what stop and frisk is, Jason. Stop and frisk is stop you on the street for nothing, require your paperwork, and then decide whether or not to detain or arrest you. And I just want to say that today is day one of St. Germain and Rico's new show on the High at 9 News called We Told You So, and you said it wouldn't happen, and it did.
Oh, God.
You said it wouldn't happen, Jason. So I'm gonna cede the floor to you, and please explain to me how it is happening, even though you said it wasn't going to happen.
First of all, I'm going to start it off with a big old super chat from Joe Mackey. Much love. Thank you so much, Joe Mackey, who says, crybaby. Cute,
Word.
cute Joe Mackey.
Fight, I'm down.
Yeah.
Rico can ref. Anyone who wants to talk shit in the chat and come up and say Germain, I will whoop your ass. Guaranteed.
Oh, you just calm down, Mathieu St. Germain is going to be all right. You know what? The reality is that crime.
If you want to fuck around,
crime has grown so immensely under this Biden-Harris regime. There has been a lack of prosecutions from all of these woke district attorney's office. Thank God, LA got rid of. Hold on, I'm going to finish speaking. Thank God, LA got rid of George Gascon.
If you're gonna say stuff like that, give us the facts.
There
It
is
happened in
facts.
certain
These are
cities,
correct
like I
facts.
pointed out in the story.
We
in
have,
certain
we have,
cities,
we have.
But overall, it is not.
That's not true.
gotten,
That's
like,
not
all
true.
crazy and out of control, like he's saying, and especially it has happened in places
In all
that did
major
not vote for
cities,
Donald
in
Trump.
major cities, Rico, is what I've stated. In major woke ass cities, like I stated, major woke ass cities. Chicago being one of them, Los Angeles being one of them, New York being one of them, Denver,
Places that did not
Colorado
vote for
being
Trump.
one of them.
Places that didn't vote for Trump.
You know what's funny is I actually saw a really interesting meme in all the states that voted for Harris that were blue states are all states that don't have voter ID.
Oh my God.
Just saying.
Right, Jason's a cop. He voted for fucking stop and frisk and federal police everywhere. Jason is a cop.
Yeah. Bring back
The
stop and
federal
frisk.
government is not big enough to have federal police everywhere, bro. That is, you're just
Jason's on the side
gaslighting
of the
people.
cops.
That is not
It
a
will be.
reality.
He's gonna-
No, they
he's
will
gonna- he's
not.
gonna-
Stop it.
whatever
Stop it.
takes.
Just like they're going to give all the drug dealers the death penalty.
Whatever it takes.
You guys are.
Yarrow, what you got for us, brother?
Yep. Nothing to say.
You,
Cat got
brother.
your tongue, Yarrow?
No, I think we need to be honest with ourselves.
Exactly. Thank
and
you.
Each other. And one of those honest things is when we are talking about increases or decreases in crime, the statistics, the numbers, the source of those numbers, and the change in those statistics over time has to be broken out. Because if you're talking about an increase in the breaking of windshields in San Francisco, it's gone up. But I'm more worried about homicides and violent crime. So there's that, right? If you spout out a half truth because it's not complete, it doesn't mean that it's not wrong. It just means you didn't eat your Wheaties when you came on before the show, right? I was eating my Wheaties. And
Rico
now I'm
obviously didn't have his Wheaties today.
so Wico is gluten-free, so he had something else. But that's okay with me. The thing that I think is most important in this is that, first of all, if Mathieu St. Germain gets frisky with someone, I don't sit on the sidelines and judge. I come in like that little Mexican midget that you see in the movies, and I'm
Little
throwing
version.
blows. Two, the other thing I think is important is on this one point, I think it is not refutable, irrespective of partisan affiliation. Stop and frisk, which was really expanded in a very pronounced way under Mayor Rudy Giuliani,
Yep.
was deemed, I believe, and bear with me, viewers, because I'm only on my first cup, was deemed unconstitutional, and I believe it was under the Fourth Amendment. And again, I am not caffeinated enough to be my best today, because it was it was a violation of unreasonable search and seizure. So typically, we are told that unless there's probable cause or law enforcement knows that there's an actual crime happening, that citizens have sovereignty over their castle, their pockets, their vehicle, etc. And so when somebody says stop and frisk is unconstitutional, it's actually not a massive stretch, because I believe that was rolled back specifically because it didn't include due process and because it was fishing, and there wasn't anything where law enforcement could say, well, we're searching you specifically because we think that you specifically are doing X, Y, and Z. And so I think what's really important in this country is to remember that one of the things that makes this country great is the idea that our system of justice and our democracy, as imperfect and as ripe for adjustment as it is still better than most of the other systems in many of the other countries, whatever, 180 countries across the world. And part of that is this idea of due process, where we are innocent until proven guilty, where we need to be found guilty in front of our peers, that we have these basic foundational rights that cannot be infringed upon. And one of those is unreasonable search and seizure.
And what about the death penalty? We have not talked about the death penalty here.
What's the problem with the death penalty now, Rico?
Ow.
Well, the problem with the death
Jason's
penalty
a
is
cop.
twofold. The first problem is that it costs way more money, because most people who get given the death penalty end up sitting on death row for 25 or 30 years.
I think that's a fair criticism.
with 6 figures of appeals every year, and it turns out that they don't get the death penalty, and all you've done is put them in a much more expensive category of prisoner. And so if you're thinking that you're just going to give someone the death penalty and 3, 4, 5 years from now they're going to get the lethal injection, that's not happening. The next problem is we found that many of the ways they dispatch people aren't exactly humane, and so that's the other part. The third problem is you look at the number of people who are on death row, and you look at them and you contrast them with the makeup of the American citizenry, and there are some questions about whether this pretty archaic method of punishment is being equally metered out amongst all American constituents. And then lastly, we have to ask ourselves, is this a humane practice? And I personally don't think that I have a fully formed opinion. I do think that when you look at things like the Innocence Project and things like that, it's pretty scary that there are people who are serving time for crimes they didn't commit. And when you give the government the ultimate power to be able to take life, that is a very slippery slope at best. Now, all of that being said, if somebody came and raped my mother, my daughter, and my wife, I probably would want them to have the death penalty.
See?
So I do think that personal pain affects people's perspective about what is a reasonable outcome.
There we
Got
go.
a question. Can we have a show of hands here? Who thinks the last 45 years of the drug war has worked at all? To do anything other than create super billionaire cartels and fund the CIA and unfairly imprison people of color and strip them of their rights?
I think it's unfairly imprisoned people of all colors, Mathieu St. Germain. I don't think it's just one color.
Worked.
No, I don't believe that the drug war has worked, and I believe a majority of Americans believe that the drug war is a complete failure.
Okay, and so, but
so what are you
it's a good
saying?
plan to then accelerate the same drug war that is.
This is not accelerating the same drug war. The drug war is accelerated. We have a mass fentanyl overload across our country, and we need to combat that.
Fentanyl overload, Jason.
What was the question, Matthew?
Why do we have a fentanyl overload?
Because of China.
Thank you for an overly simplistic answer. No, the reason we have a fentanyl overload is because the CIA working with drug cartels to bring cocaine into America, creating super
fentanyl comes from China and then through Mexico across the border to the U.S.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Through those same cartels that became super organizations through smuggling cocaine.
That's fair.
To the U.S. with the complicity of the U.S. government under Ronald Reagan and George Bush.
So what's the point? Now he's calling for the death penalty for those cartels. What's the problem with that?
No, he said all drug dealers.
For drug dealers, Jason. He's calling for.
Bro, if you guys think that he's talking about your average person with a pound of weed, you guys are asinine. You guys are crazy.
The delusion and the cope in your
you
mind
guys are
so
crazy.
Amazing, Jason.
Cray.
This is just like flash forward to a week ago when you said stop and frisk was a talking point that would never happen. That's what you said, Jason. And anyone on the chat.
First of all, stop and frisk. Stop and frisk. First of all, stop and frisk. If you get pulled over, stop doesn't include stop and frisk.
Go and look, and they can see where Jason and Jenny Beth Dills both said that stop and frisk was a minor talking point.
It is a minor talking point.
That would not happen.
It's not going to happen.
Said it would not happen.
Stop and frisk, first of all, is only for people when you're standing on the street. It's not when you're driving around in cars.
Fantasizes about
Jason,
at night when he's alone, touching himself. His fever dream of the new Orange Führer.
I mean,
shut up.
Frisk is my new dating policy.
Hold on. In the speech, he specifically said that in order for any of these cops to get the money that he is, the unprecedented amount of money that he is promising to give to all of them, they must obey by his nationwide stop and frisk implementation.
Yep.
If they want $1 of the money he's promising them, they need to crack down now. His exact words in this, Jason.
Well, we have a super chat in from the Cole memo who says the iron law of prohibition is the cause of fent. You guys, and on that, we're gonna go into a commercial and we're gonna be right back.
Oh man, that was weird. Hey, you America. Do I look like Sean Connery?
Good morning, America. Saman Razani coming to you live from sunny Los Angeles, California with the one and only highest host, Mr. Jason Beck, smoking on the best weed in the world. Did you know that we have an audio-only version of our podcast? You can find it on Apple, Google, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. No excuses in 2024. If you haven't checked us out, check it out now. And also, check out what the Prophet's doing in 2024.
And we are back, everybody. Y'all know who it is up next. It's the High 9 News head honcho, the highest Republican in every room. And I guess he got to have his freedom papers on him from now on, just in case he gets stopped in drift. Next time you got Mar-a-Lago.
I got
Jason
plenty. You guys are funny. You guys are so funny. Two quick super chats. We have the C word.
On you, Jason, when you're down in Florida again.
I can't wait to go to Florida. I ain't got no problem carrying my papers on me. No problem. The C word shout out. He says, I thought Jason would be less grumpy after his boy won the election. I am a whole lot less grumpy, C word, but I'm having a little problem breathing out of my nose, bro. So that's probably why you guys are seeing that or feeling that.
On the Democrats.
I'm totally blaming it on the Democrats. And also to American Cholo with a super chat. It says, I'm a former criminal, and I can tell you we do not need a tough on crime president. All the super progressive policies have made our streets much worse. Thank you so much.
Jason, you misspoke. He said we do need.
Yes, we do.
Not need.
Sorry, we do need.
Give that $10 back because you said it wrong. Now take it from the top.
We do need. Oh, here. I can tell you we do need a tough on crime president. All the super progressive policies have made our streets much worse. You are 100% right about that, American Cholo. And I'm going to be over there with American Cholo on Thursday, the 21st. We're going to be talking about all kinds of things. So hope you check him out and what's going to be happening over there on the 21st. But nonetheless, man, I'm going to roll into my story for you, Rico, because I already know you're going to have a conniption fit. But nonetheless, here we go. I have some good news for you guys today. That's right. Colorado Springs, we've been covering this a lot. Their marijuana ordinance 2D results flipped over the weekend. That's right, you guys. The Democrats must be in control because they flipped this election. Because updated election results from El Paso County show that there has been a flip in the numbers for Colorado Springs ballot question 2D, which would ban adult use marijuana sales. The El Paso County Clerk and Recorder's Office released unofficial results on Saturday at 6 p.m., which shows that the ballot issue 2D has 49.5% for yes, for, and 50.5% for no, against. If this question were to pass, then adult use marijuana would be prohibited in Colorado Springs. However, the current numbers show that this may not be the case. Legalizing adult use marijuana was also proposed on the ballot in 2022, but was shot down by voters. And ballot question 300 could determine if medical marijuana dispensaries would be allowed to also sell adult use products. And currently, the yes for votes are over 20,000 ahead, and the no against votes. And with these current numbers, adult use marijuana sales could potentially be legal in the future in Colorado Springs. So congratulations, Colorado Springs. That is huge, huge, huge news for you guys. What do y'all have to say about this? All I hear is crickets, huh? Just crickets. All right. Fair enough. You guys don't have nothing to say.
I'm still in shock from you being such a cop, bro. I thought you came from the weed game.
I am.
We're still being.
I am for the weed game. I am from the weed game, Mathieu St. Germain. But I'm also not with people just being blatant criminals and just. I'm not for total anarchy. I need some law and order in my life.
Total anarchy, Jason. How's the drug war been going for 45 years, Jason?
The drug war is a complete failure, Mathieu St. Germain. Right. We all agreed on that.
Who instituted the drug war?
What's that?
Who instituted the drug war?
Nixon.
Correct. Why?
There's a whole Matthew. What's your point?
Civil rights and to destroy
what's your point, Matthew? What's your point?
Right.
What's your point, Mathieu St. Germain? What's your point?
My point is the drug war has been dysfunctional, and has not worked.
I agreed with that. I agreed with that.
Of that, going to suddenly make it function.
What's that?
How is killing people going to make the drug war start to function, please?
Well, because people are going to know that there's steep penalties for certain crimes, and anyone that is killing people with fentanyl, I think, deserves the death penalty, and that's really what he's addressing over here is the massive fentanyl influx that's happening into our country.
Have you never seen what the cartels do to each other on the daily? They torture and murder each other to the thousands.
And so what's your point,
If
Mathieu
morph's
St.
not
Germain?
gonna stop
What's your
it.
point?
I think my point is
How
you
do you
guys
not
need to
understand my
find a way
point
to
is
litigate this
the drug war
issue
is a
while
failure. Give me a- no,
simultaneously
Yarrow, he asked me a
covering the
question. Give me a
next
second.
article.
Yarrow, he asked me a question. Give me a second. My point is, one, the drug war is a failure.
Okay,
Two,
I agree
the
with that.
cartels murder each other to the thousands every year.
Lots of people murder each other. They don't even
How
have to be
is
cartel
murdering a
members to
few
do
more
that.
people going to stop or make the drug war work?
Well, because you're all going to sit around with Mathieu St. Germain and do acid and sing Kumbaya and sing Ring Around the Posy. That's how.
Okay,
Ring around the
so
rosy,
you don't have an
Yeah,
answer.
there we go.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Yarrow, go ahead. Now that Jason revealed he actually doesn't have an answer, I'd like to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, what I have to say is that part of the job of pundit on this show is to find a way when we don't let a topic go to weave it into our commentary on the next article and find a way to circle back and double back. So I am going to ask both of you to continue this lively debate without backtracking, and so that we can weave it into covering this article. This article is about an aggressive policy in a pro-cannabis state that has been at the forefront of legalized cannabis. And I invite the two of you to weave your perspectives into covering this, because otherwise it's just an oil wrestling match.
Well, to me, it looks like the pro cannabis guys have won. Have very much won in this Colorado Springs, which is a very, very conservative location. You know what I mean? You have,
but Jason, the entire results aren't in though yet, right?
well, they're saying that they're up, and they're saying this is basically the switch, and basically, you know, usually happens overnight, and now it's been a whole week, and so I'm going to ride with this until another story comes out that it's going to pass.
Well, I think we should pause on that, because I would not be surprised if they have a recount.
Well, that's
on
because
this.
you're
If
a
it's
professional
50
flip-flopper.
Hold on. If it's 50.5% versus 49.5%, I'm pretty sure there's going to be that's well within the margin of error.
That's
so
fine.
That's
fine.
Before saying that it's a victory.
Hey, I'm calling it a victory today, Rico. Okay, we may have a whole other story tomorrow or a few days from now that points a different way, but as of right now, today, it's a victory.
Why?
Because that's what this article states. Yep.
It's not even settled. Like what?
It's a victory. It's a win.
You just call it.
Big W's, bro. Big W's.
Why would we consider it a win if there was a ban on recreational marijuana in Colorado Springs?
No, so there's always been a ban, and they voted for it this year, okay? And they voted again. They've been voting on it every year, and it hasn't passed. This year, they're saying they're saying that it looks like it's going to pass with 50.5% of the vote. So yes, that's a win, Yarrow. That's UWIN.
If this question were to pass, then recreational.
That's because they haven't finalized.
Prohibited.
That's because they haven't finalized the vote yet. They have to certify it and all of that stuff. You know what I mean, Yarrow?
So this is the ballot initiative that they said that they were saying leading up to the vote was purposely confusing.
So there's two questions. I get it. You guys are confused. There's two questions on the ballot. There's two questions that were on the ballot.
And Jason, can you let
It's been purposely confusing from the jump, and opening itself up to litigation afterwards is what all the legal experts were saying before this ballot initiative even went through. So even if the pro selling of recreational or adult use at medical facilities in Colorado Springs is upheld, you better believe it's going to be appealed. You better believe there's going to be lawsuits right out the gate, just like all the legal experts pointed to. So
I don't have a problem with lawsuits
at all. Yeah, dude, we've been covering this fucking story for the last couple weeks.
I know, and then this is the newest update on this story, which is why I'm covering it today.
What's happening right now? People were most likely confused as to, oh yeah, are we doing this or are we not? Because the way that it was worded, and here we are. It looks like people were confused. So I would take extreme caution when saying like, yes, this is a victory. We don't know if this
as of right now today, for the purpose of this story, it's a win right now. It's a win. They're winning. They are winning.
I do have to say there were several ballot measures in California that I had to read multiple times and get on several websites to look at because of their wording. The same thing happened later, Rico. Same thing happened with that flavored tobacco ban in California, where it literally was like vote yes or vote no to allow flavored tobacco to be sold because it was an upending of a legislatural a law passed by the California legislature.
Are you talking about spray pack tobacco?
These things, we should have some sort of plain language requirement for these ballot measures.
I agree with that, Mathieu St. Germain, in all reality, because I do believe a lot of the times the people, when they word different initiatives, they do word them sneakily to try to make sure
we should
that
have the death penalty for people who word those bills wrong.
I mean, I'm all in favor of the death penalty.
Yeah, let's just have the death penalty for everything. That's gonna fix it.
That'll work. That'll eliminate a lot right there, Mathieu St. Germain.
Yep.
When I think about what I'm going to vote for with some of these complicated ballot measures, I just call Jenny Dills and I ask her what she's going to vote for. And then I just vote the opposite.
Yeah, she should be joining us shortly. She's running a little bit behind today, but
not a problem, not a problem. So some people say, "What would Jesus do?" I say, "What would Jenny do?" And then I just do the opposite.
That's cute. That's real cute, Yarrow. And on that, we're gonna roll right into the man from the Shire. He is the man that has been walking this planet for thousands upon thousands upon thousands of years. He is, that's right, Mathieu St. Germain.
Hey, good morning, everybody. First and foremost, anybody wants to fight, I'm totally down. Get a hold of Jason. I'll whoop your ass.
You look more like a grappler than a fighter, Mathieu St. Germain.
What's that?
You look more like a grappler than a fighter, just so you know.
Yeah, I've been teaching fighting arts for over 25 years, bro. I'll whoop anyone's ass. That's a standing challenge.
Oh man, I think we should fight.
Progressive country, which sounds crazy when you're going to hear what country it is. Psychologists in Australia are very positive about psychedelic-assisted therapy. I think this is a pretty important story because of the train wreck that MAPS and Lycos has become with the FDA. Psychologists in Australia view psychedelic-assisted therapy as a transformative tool with the potential to facilitate deep psychological insights and emotional breakthroughs for patients with chronic mental health conditions. Australian psychologists' attitudes towards psychedelic-assisted therapy and training following a world-first drug down scheduling, well, listen to that, has been published in Drug and Alcohol Review. Researchers interviewed 20 psychologists from across Australia, and most said psychedelic-assisted therapists would benefit from a psychedelic experience as part of their professional training. Training programs which prepare professionals to navigate the complexities of PAT are limited in Australia, and there was demand to equip psychologists with knowledge and training to deliver these therapies responsibly and effectively. Lead researcher with the School of Applied Psychology, PH candidate Jordan Nagreen, said participants showed both enthusiasm and caution about the perceived therapeutic potential of PAT. Psychologists in the study exhibited limited awareness of the implementation processes of PAT in Australia, especially related to the prescription and delivery procedure. During the psychedelic experience, clinical outcomes would depend on an individual's psychological state and internal environment, and the factors free unpredictability, making access to professional support and treatment vital. The research shows most psychologists believe endorsement by credible institutions, comprehensive education, training programs would remove the barriers to safe delivery of PAT practice. Many participants advocated for the specialist training, which expands beyond coursework, with an option to undergo supervised psychedelic exposure, as part of the training. Participants proposed PAT had the capacity to alleviate pressure on the mental health system through facilitating a reduction in psychological barriers to treatment and addressing underlying causes of psychological distress. Psychologists also noted that under the right conditions, treatment was non-addictive, safe to use, more effective than current psychiatric pharmacotherapies, was associated with fewer instances of aggression, I need that, and imposed fewer physical and mental side effects. My takeaway from this article is multiple. Number one, there's been an underground group of psychologists, primarily headquartered out of Northern California, that has been using MDMA and other psychedelics for well over 50 years to great success. Regardless of the failure, hopefully temporarily only, of Rick Doblin, MAPS, and Lycos, and their inability to steward their trials to create an ethical and transparent result, we are seeing is that therapies have a high level of efficacy when we put the lens of science. Also, what I'd like to point out is if we look at Australia, just like Portugal, just like the Netherlands, these countries have drug use of all kinds, including opioids, that is precipitously dropping off a cliff. And the reason is drug down scheduling and education. We're actually creating a canon of peer-reviewed statistical scientific evidence longitudinally that shows educate people, they make better choices. Take it away, guys.
Man, this came out of Australia, Mathieu St. Germain.
Came out of Australia, where instead of murdering drug dealers, they decided to deschedule drugs so that they could educate and further save their populace.
They did not deschedule drugs in Australia. They have camps for people and lock them up in there.
In Portugal, is that they have a national health system, and what they're trying to do with their national health system is find ways to save the country money, save money on health, and so they get past Puritanism and jingoism to what strategies actually save money, help their populace.
Well, speaking of stopping and frisking my down under.
Oh boy.
I do.
He's got a Joey. He's got a Joey today.
I got a marsupial and it's got your name on it. So, I think there was something that, for me, that stood out about this article, which is it said that psychologists who are going to be helping people through psychedelic assisted therapy should have taken the psychedelic themselves and should have also gone through the protocol, procedure, paradigm, process that they are then guiding patients in. And there's a part of that that just seems really like common sense to me. Like if you were running a Michelin star restaurant and you didn't taste the food coming out of your kitchen, that would be concerning. I think if you're a psychiatrist, and you are leading psychedelic assisted therapy and have never taken psychedelics, that would also be concerning. How can you be a guide if you haven't gone someplace, right? So that's an interesting thing because I think that that's new to medicine. We don't say that the doctor who prescribes opiates during a surgery has to have taken opiates themselves. So one of the biggest takeaways for me in this article was this idea that they're tethering, part of the qualifications to the idea that those people have tried it themselves in the exact procedure that they're going to be doing with their patient. I thought that was interesting.
Interesting. Oh, look at there she is. Look at Jenny Beth Dills. She decided to make it today.
We had a little technical difficulty with my bridge, and I'm not coming in toothless for nobody, but I do love you, Jason.
Oh, amazing.
Oh, come on. Stop it. Last night you were toothless, and I didn't hear any complaints.
I wasn't with you last night.
She heard a little whistle while you work, huh, Yarrow?
Anyway.
Well, shout out to the Cole Memo with another super chat who says Jason Beck voted for Joe Biden this year. There's not a chance in hell I would ever vote for Joe Biden. Cole Memo, that's cute, and I'm glad that you think that is funny. But I would never vote for Joe Biden.
It's funny. It's funny.
Never in a million years would I vote for that guy.
Fucking hilarious.
But and I don't believe that that there was 14 other million Americans that voted for him either. All of a sudden, that was all total bullshit too, because
they all had their bridges out.
Exactly. Now they're all on milk cartons. People are looking for him.
None of them had an ID when they voted.
They didn't. I mean, most of them were dead. Just saying.
Biden was like, "Well, it takes one to know one. I'm there also." The whole cemetery crew.
That is pretty funny. Man. That is pretty funny.
Well, yeah, his friends voted for him. Okay.
I can't believe that that you think, Mathieu St. Germain, that Australia's drug policies are better than the U.S.'s.
What
Well, they do have some that are better, including
actually,
some cannabis policies.
Thanks, Yarrow. What we're seeing, Jason, is it's not about. Here's the difference between you and I. Not about belief and me checking in with what my daddy Trump says so I know what to say and believe. What I do is I look at the statistics and the peer-reviewed science coming out of Australia. And what the statistics and the peer-reviewed science is showing, Brother Jason, is a drop in incarceration and a drop in drug use, a higher level of societal calm, and the fact that, number one, psychedelics work, and number two, your populace will do less drugs. They are, in fact, educated about what those drugs do. But I don't have to believe anything because what I do is I actually know how to read.
Oh, I know how to read
too. I'm pretty sure, and I don't think that Daddy Trump gave him any advice on what to say about Australia.
That's true.
I feel like Jason would have called me immediately.
Jenny, you missed Rico's story. Remember when you said stop and frisk wasn't going to happen? It was a talking point?
Oh God!
Do you remember when
again.
I said that you just kind of get on this grandstanding thing and it started to become like you're like a bully?
Right. So that's called a deflection. Right. So we can.
So what did Rico's story say? Let's go.
Rico was the ultimate gaslighter. You should have been here for all that. We're not going into all that. We're going to go into a commercial and we're going to be right back. We're rolling into a commercial. We're going to be right back.
Stop and frisk, Jenny.
This plan would make marijuana legal, but would not remove all of the consequences. Explain that for us.
Why are they busting in my door after midnight over something that Illinois says is legal?
Right. We've run into so much cannabis. We've run out of places to put it.
Things are legalized, but it's not legalized completely.
My mini doc on legalization policy in Illinois is available for free streaming now at colememo.com/minidoc.
Probably a connection issue.
Yes, and we're back. Stop whatever you're doing. Make sure that you smash that like button. I know we'll appreciate it. You'll appreciate it, and YouTube will appreciate it. Also, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already, and all of the articles that we cover on today's show are up on our website at www.highatnightnews.com.
Are you a business that's suffering from the hyperinflation that is plaguing America today? We have the solution for you. That's right. Patriot Business Financing. Head on over to www.patriotbfc.com and apply for a loan up to $2 million. Any state, any industry, even the cannabis industry, the CBD industry, as well as the industrial hemp fiber industry, secure up to $2 million today. And make sure that when you apply, you tell Paul you said hi from High at 9.
Yes, and we are back. And we are going to roll right into Miss Jenny Beth Dills. She's the founder of Kind Cannabis, as well as Justice Served, a 501c3. And that's right. What do you have today for us, Miss Jenny Beth Dills?
Okay, I have a fun story, since that was fun until it wasn't. All right, so boxing legend Mike Tyson is making some surprising changes as he prepares for his big fight against Jake Paul. Tyson reveals he's giving up both cannabis and sex in the lead up to the match, proving that men fight better and more aggressive when they are pent up. He admitted to the Daily Mail that while it's tough, he's staying disciplined, saying, "I hate not being able to smoke, but I'm doing it like I love it. I hate not being able to sleep with my wife, but I'm doing it like I love it." The 58-year-old former heavyweight champ is set to step back into the ring this Friday after a 19-year hiatus. Tyson's intense preparation includes daily training, gym workouts, strength conditioning, and massages. Interestingly, he's also abandoned his vegan diet, which he had followed since 2010, opting to return to eating meat for this fight. Let's not forget, Tyson was the undisputed world heavyweight champion, with his last official fight ending in a TKO loss to Kevin McBride back in June 2025. Now all eyes are on him as he prepares to face Jake Paul in this highly anticipated comeback. All right, so I just thought that this was interesting and kind of funny, and it makes sense to me, like, backed up, not high, angry, aggressive, you're fighting, probably going to be helpful. I'm going to throw it back to you guys because I wanted to find a story that would not incite a riot.
Well, you already know you're going to trigger Yarrow with anything Mike Tyson related.
Oh, shit, I forgot.
I mean, I've already said everything I have to say. I mean, I've come to a new place in my life in relationship to this convicted rapist, which is that at some point, I'd like to think that people do pay their price to society and that society's job is also to move on. I think the unfair idolization of him within the space is a little unhealthy. But that said, we have a little gentleman's bet going on in our house about who's going to win this match. And I have to tell you, I am rooting for and betting for Tyson.
Oh, well, I hate that because I actually have a bet amongst my group of friends that might have happened at a spa when I had a little too much champagne, but it involves a midget and $100, and I need Jake Paul to win this fight.
So, first of all, as your midget, I am not going to charge you $100, okay? So I want you to know it'll be a lot less cheap, a lot less expensive if you lose. Look, I hope Tyson pounds this guy into the ground and shows the world that 52 is the new 22.
Fair enough. I think Tyson's gonna smoke Jay Paul personally. He's gonna put him on him, and and also too, I don't think it's I don't think it's out of pocket or out of the ordinary for fighters to stop a lot of different types of behaviors while they're training for a fight.
I don't think it's that out of the ordinary either. And semen retention is a real thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, people practice that all the time. Yarrow looks confused. Nobody gave him the memo.
Is that why they say all hands on deck,
I have
Jenny
a
Beth?
spray and pray mentality, okay? I'm not retaining anything except for a little water.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God. Mm-hmm. Is that why they say what, Jason?
All hands on deck.
And no, it's all hands on dick, okay?
Whoa.
Jason, they just PG-13'd it for you.
Easy there, Tiger.
I'm petting my dog. Right, Mickey Hart.
That's what you call it. That's what you call it. We know what's really going on.
Mickey Hart has made an appearance on the news this morning.
Oh yes,
guys.
what's up, Mickey Hart? Yes, look at that. He's like, feed me, lady.
He comes and finds me to burp every time I feed him. So that's what he just did.
I hope Tyson smashes on the youngster.
No, I need it not to happen because I'm going to lose $100 and I don't get. So here's the thing.
Yeah, tell us about this bet.
Each group of friends has a little person, okay? So we've decided that we bet $100 and then you trade the little person to the other friend group for the day. So
you can't just sell me to the highest bidder, Jenny. Like, you have to get my consent. There's a form I have to sign. Like, you can't
we sign all your parental permission slips.
Soccer moms of Southern California.
Man.
That's why I changed it to little person, Christopher Brady. Calm down.
Midgets are not a derogatory term.
Well, I don't know. I said little person, so if I've offended anyone out there,
whatever.
My bad.
Whatever.
Didn't mean to.
Whatever.
Didn't mean to.
Offensive terms.
I'm just offending the shit out of everybody this morning, Jason. Look at me. Maybe I should have stayed home.
Fair enough. And on that, we're going to roll into our final commercial. We're going to be right back.
My allergies.
Mm-hmm.
I just ordered the summertime strawberry salad when added steak on top here at Anna's. Make sure you do the same thing too next time you're in downtown Long Beach. Come on down and check out Anna's joint on the 400 block of Pine Street. They have amazing selection of beers, foods, and when you come down here to Anna's, you can even challenge me to a game of shuffleboard if you want to lose. Did you get that? So, next time you're in downtown Long Beach on Pine Avenue, make sure you stop by Anna's Joint on the 400 block. Not only do they have Anna's Joint, this restaurant and bar, but they also have the amazing deli next door, and then next door to that they have a very exotic flower shop. You may want to stop by and say hi.
Yeah, right on time. That's right. Coming up next is that angry elf, and Jenny has to pick him up off the shelf. Coming straight out the Shire. That's right. It is none other than Mr. Yarrow Kubrin.
Good morning. Good morning. Hi at 9 News. This has been a lively one.
Yeah.
Right? And let's thank everybody who served or serves. And without further ado, let me get right down to serving up the headlines. So this is Yarrow, Monday morning, High at 9 News. And straight from the Missouri Independent, Missouri's $1.4 billion cannabis market outpaces states with older programs. More than 1,000 industry leaders gathered at the MJ Unpacked conference in St. Louis to address issues facing the cannabis market. In less than 2 years of selling legal recreational weed, Missouri's cannabis market has grown to $1.4 billion, outperforming states with a longer history of medical legalization like Arizona, Colorado, and Nevada. Those are mature marketplaces, and you are surpassing them, said Lori Parfait, CEO of LKP Impact Consulting. Hi, Lori. Luck ya. Mwah. Missouri's doing amazing things, and we expect tremendous growth in this market going forward, she continued. Parfait gave a year's overview of Missouri's cannabis market as part of the MJ Unpacked conference in St. Louis last week, which brought together more than 1,000 industry leaders, regulators, investors, and scientists to address the issues facing the cannabis market. To a ballroom packed with brand executives, Parfait unveiled Missouri's top consumer. It's surprisingly a millennial man. Men make up 64% of cannabis sales in Missouri, and more than 40% of shoppers overall are millennials or people between the ages of 28 and 43. Gen X buyers, ages 44 to 59, make up 25%, and Gen Z consumers, those between 21 and 27, are at 18% of the market. Baby boomers make up the remaining 14%. When you really think about your marketplace, the majority of consumers are sitting in that millennial bracket, she said, and flower still dominates everything. Nearly 50% of sales consist of flower, or what most would recognize as good old-fashioned weed sold in a container. Flower is the 800-pound gorilla, she said, and it's going to be one of the biggest categories out there. It's a major growth driver in this marketplace. That's true amongst all age groups in Missouri. However, among the younger generation, vape pens are a close second, but edibles make up a small percentage of their shopping cart. And it's the complete opposite for the older generation, who are starting to buy more edibles. In fact, the largest consumer of edibles currently in Missouri are baby boomer women. That should not be a surprise, guys. The top 5 brands make up almost 27% of the state's total sales. Those are Illicit Garden, Good Day Farms, Codes, Amaze Cannabis, and Vivid. Parfait's presentation was based on sales from September 2023 to October 2024, compiled by the cannabis data platform company Headset. Missouri voters approved recreational cannabis in 2022, and sales began a few months later in February of 2023. Andrew Mullins, executive director of the Missouri Cannabis Trade Association, said Missouri looks different from other state markets after transitioning from selling only medical marijuana to adding recreational cannabis. Other states saw a surge in sales for the first few months and then a pretty quick drop. We've been really surprised here in Missouri that it's basically been almost the exact same, almost 120 million every month all the way through, Mullins said. This summer, Mo Cannabis pointed to another study that showed that Missouri had the 5th most recreational cannabis sales, $709 million, in the first half of 2024 amongst all adult use states. The report, released by national cannabis business publication Green Market Reports, showed California leading the nation in legal cannabis sales, followed by Michigan, Illinois, Massachusetts, all states with larger populations and that had legalized cannabis before Missouri. And that growth translates to jobs, Mullins says. The state industry now employs more than 20,000 people, according to the Division of Cannabis Regulations' October data on cannabis employer or employee agents who have been licensed. We've been very fortunate for the economic impact that it's created, Mullins said, and the jobs that it has created. So, Yara Kubrin here. Looks like little state is showing that it's high and mighty. I'd like to puff pass and see what the rest of you guys think about this article today.
Man, Missouri is eating everybody's lunch. That might be like the #1 market to be in the entire country.
I don't know. It sounds like a puff piece to me, but
are you puffing?
Need to see some empirically verifiable data.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying Headset's not empirical verified data?
I'm saying Headset has not always had the cleanest data sets, but that's okay. And I think it's cool. Like that's awesome. I'm glad to see Missouri doing well. I know brands like Rover doing really well out there. Joe was spending a lot of time out there. Shout out to Joanne. But yeah, no, it's very interesting. And I don't know why we're surprised that boomer women who had to raise all of us are smoking more weed now.
Mm-hmm.
Don't bark at me, sir.
That's fair. But everybody that I know that is doing that is in Missouri is doing fantastic. They're actually making money. They're selling through with all of their products, and they don't even have product really left over to be bringing on other brands into the market. So like which is amazing. Yeah, it's a very like consolidated market. They're doing very, very well.
You like how Mick just unplugged my light for me? He stomped his feet at me and he unplugged my light.
That's really cute. It's really
Jenny,
cute.
with you, the light is shining from the inside. Nobody needs external illumination.
Oh boy.
Come here, Mickey.
Oh
Come
boy,
here.
you guys are funny, man. You guys are funny.
Yeah, it's interesting to me because some of these states that are not, what we would consider A markets, right? I'm always a little ambivalent and hesitant to see how they're going to roll out. Are they just going to be a diversion shit show? Mm-hmm. Are they going to just go Oprah Winfrey style with a license for everybody, and next thing you know, everybody's got a dispensary and cultivation license? Are we going to see massive maturation and margin decline? And so this is kind of it's a piece of good news. I also wonder if some of the mid-tier markets that are performing better than expected just have less diversion and or unregulated activity, which props up regulated demand. I don't know the answer to that, but I think it's always great to see sales numbers that validate that when people can easily, safely, and simply acquire cannabis, many people do.
Did you say a mid-tiered market?
Stop.
Very funny. I see what you did there. That was pretty good. I also don't find anything surprising about these purchasing categories, both in terms of the type of people and types of categories. So I didn't think there was any news there because it really mirrors what we've seen in other markets.
Fair enough. Well, shout out to all my friends out there in Missouri. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Also, Missouri's kind of boring as shit. Like, you probably should want to.
There's not a lot else to do, right?
You can make a bunch of babies, or you can smoke some weed. You know what I mean? Like, pick one.
I take all the above.
All the above.
Yeah, I'll make babies and smoke weed.
Oh, Yara.
That's cute.
I've got time today between 12:30 and 1 and 2:30 and 4.
Fair enough. And since Yarrow has time today, I'm going to end the story with some medical information for you guys. You ready for this? Yeah. To cope with dementia, Yarrow. Seniors are turning to cannabis, you guys. That's right. More older adults are using marijuana for sleep, anxiety, and pain. And a small but growing number are taking it to manage their dementia symptoms. Now, that sounds very interesting to me. Doctors who prescribe cannabis to dementia patients say it can alleviate anxiety, agitation, and pain, and improve sleep, appetite, and mood. While there isn't much definitive research on the use of cannabis for dementia, several small studies have backed its usefulness in soothing agitation. Roughly 20% of the people who come for a cannabis consultation now are dementia patients, says Dr. Jeffrey Hargengather, a general practitioner in Sebastopol, California. Look at that. He's in your neck of the woods, Shire, who has made cannabis his specialty for more than 25 years. Some dementia patients and their caregivers are seeking alternatives after traditional medications haven't provided relief or caused unsettling side effects, doctors say. In a quote, they say, "It's a fairly common practice among people living with dementia," says Brenda Roberts, executive director of the nonprofit National Council of Dementia Minds, a dementia patient advocacy group. And marijuana comes up frequently in discussion groups, she adds. She says her 72-year-old husband, Mark Roberts, who was diagnosed with vascular dementia a little over 10 years ago, takes a liquid dose of cannabis twice a day to help control anxiety and outbursts. He takes a higher dose of THC gummy at night as needed to help him with sleep. And Mark Roberts says cannabis helps him relax and improves his relationship with his wife. The couple live in Elwell, Michigan. And in a quote, they say, "It just calms me down," he says. "It gets your nerves down so you're not so rattled. It helps your thought process so you're not so upset," he says. Cannabis can lead to drowsiness, which raises the serious risk of falls in older people with dementia, and that drowsiness can further weaken cognitive function in Alzheimer's patients, says Dr. Jacobu Minzer, a psychiatrist and professor at the University of South Carolina, who is researching cannabis treatment in dementia patients. Most doctors who support cannabis for dementia currently recommend it for people in the middle to late stages of the disease, and they say further study is needed to see if it can be used in earlier stages and to weigh benefits with potential risks. They typically prescribe THC and the main psychoactive component in marijuana in combination with CBD, another part of the cannabis plant that doesn't produce a high. And CBD can decrease the psychoactive effects of THC and enhance positive properties, Minzer says. A new National Institute on Aging is evaluating a combination of CBD and THC in late-stage hospice-eligible dementia patients who suffer from severe agitation, and typically they are treated with antispasmodics. antipsychotics, but those have side effects, including severe constipation, confusion, and sometimes even increased agitation, says Minzer, who is the principal investigator of the study. I mean, why wouldn't antipsychotics, cause confusion? I mean, it's crazy to me, but whatever. In a quote, they say, "We expect that this treatment will allow patients to die with dignity and without agitation or fear," he says. The caregivers are delighted that we're trying new medications to improve the quality of life in the last weeks or days of the patients' lives. Annika Leon, says her mother, Barbara Leon, who has Alzheimer's disease and lives in an assisted living care community in Santa Cruz, California, has been taking THC edibles about 10 months. And Leon thought of edibles for her mother after noticing that she was experiencing more anxiety and psychosis symptoms while on other medications. And at first, her mother took an edible during the day to see if it would help with anxiety, and says Leon Will, a mental health therapist, but her mother seemed less steady on her feet, so she switched to taking it only at night. The edible has, in quotes, been really helpful with sleep in particular, and to some degree anxiety, Leon Wheel says. She also says she is much more able to stay asleep through the night and just kind of relax in her bed even if she wakes up. There isn't much definitive research on cannabis and its impact on cognitive impairments and dementia, says Dr. Ronald Peterson, a professor of neurology at the Mayo Clinic College of Medicine and Science in Rochester, Minnesota. And still, he has had patients and caregivers ask about it and hasn't discouraged them from taking it. And a quote says, "Sometimes it can produce a calming effect for people," he says, noting that it isn't clear whether it does anything to treat the underlying disease. A recent study of 75 Alzheimer's patients indicated in preliminary results that 5 milligrams of synthetic THC twice a day significantly decreased agitation compared with the placebo effect, and the researchers from Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine and Tufts University School of Medicine presented the findings at several conferences this year and are preparing them for publication. A 2019 study had similar findings, but also reported increased drowsiness among some people. And surprisingly, THC appeared to improve cognitive function in older animals, and some studies say Zevia Cooper, director of the UCLA Center for Cannabis and Cannabinoids, even though it impairs functioning in younger animals. Interesting. And Cooper has received National Institutes of Health funds to compare the effects of cannabis in groups of younger, middle-aged, and older adults. And the quote says, "There really hasn't been comparison," she says. "That is a serious gap given that there are so many older people are starting to use it," they say. Well. Cannabis for dementia. I think that is a new one, and I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this. You think these guys
we reported on it the other day, remember?
You think these guys are going to forget to take their cannabis?
Jason.
I'm just asking. It's a serious question.
Funny.
It's a serious question.
It's a serious funny is what it is. Look, Dr. Jeffrey Hergenrather has been at the forefront for a very long time, and I really appreciate that you called out that he lives in this sleepy little bucolic town called Sebastopol in West Sonoma County, where I'm lucky enough to also reside and be raising my youngins. This gentleman, I'm incredibly biased. When the government tried to take away my right to use medical cannabis, Dr. Jeffrey Hergenrather, as my doctor, was an expert witness, and I had to fight in the legal system to be able to use medical cannabis instead of opioids, and to have that be a condition of my release from my last round of cannabis convictions back in the Paleolithic era. This gentleman has been at the forefront for a really long time. This is the type of person that I hope receives massive angel investment support, massive support from any of the agencies that can really help him to further the medical research. He's not just in Sebastopol. He's traveled quite extensively as a result of the work he's doing. And we unfortunately always have to end these articles with, more research is needed. This is promising, but not definitive, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Hopefully there's a world in which federal legalization or decriminalization allows for more research, because I do think that the promise of medical cannabis is something that we shouldn't let get lost when we are also reporting on rosy sales from mid-tier states, and we're talking about adult use and money and markets and capitalism and the way in which people can do well by being involved in this industry. I think it's important to remember that at the end of the day, the promise for treatment or cure or reduction of major diseases is probably the best thing about cannabis. And it's people like Dr. Hergen, rather, who continue to shine a light on those opportunities and to try to replace question marks with answers. So God bless him. God bless his family. We're thanking those who served our country today.
Yes.
And Hergen, rather, never picked up a gun and probably never put on a uniform, although I don't know his history as a young man. But let's be clear. He is also serving our country and serving our people and serving our populace in a way that is deeply noble.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Fair enough. What are your thoughts on this, Jenny Beth?
I mean, I'm just stoked. We reported on it a few weeks ago, right? And I sent the article to my stepdad, who has been diagnosed with dementia recently. So hopefully we'll see more positive outcomes coming out. I mean, the fall risk thing is definitely a concern, but
yeah, right. I worry about that. I mean, I have problems falling myself, and so you know what I mean.
We always catch you, Jason.
But you can't make cannabis the fall guy.
I see what you did there, Yarrow. That's cute.
Wow, Yarrow.
That's cute. But I do notice that like when like I take edibles that I'm much more lethargic. Like it is like my legs become like rubber bands, and it's harder to stabilize. And so I definitely sympathize with these seniors at that point in time in their life. That's
I would just say sit down when you get stoned.
I know, but then you still got to get up and go to bed, Jenny.
Yeah, eventually.
And that could be a walk.
Why can't you just pass out on the couch, Jason, and drool on the side of your cheek like anybody else?
No, see, because I don't get good sleep when I sleep on the couch, and then I like end up like sleeping in some weird position, and then I'm like hurting, and you know what I'm saying, in the morning, and it's just not a fun experience.
Just call to me. I'll bring the blanket to your sex swing. You don't need to move.
Oh boy.
Pause.
Well, yeah, pause. Yeah. well, on that. Yeah. Well, on that, thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific and high noon on the East Coast. Big thank you to our audience and supporters for tuning in daily and listening to the insanity that is the developing cannabis industry. Huge thank you to Catalyst for helping us keeping the lights on over here. Yes. And thank you to our correspondents for being absolutely amazing, even if some of the correspondents can't take the heat today, apparently. And thank you to Cannabis for giving us a reason to do all of this. And thank you to Cloud Media Partners, Adam out there in the metaverse somewhere. And thank you all for tuning in and getting high at 9 with us. We are America's #1 daily cannabis news show.
And thank you to my mama and all the other veterans and my brother and my brother-in-law and Nick Bradley and everybody who served to protect our country so we can throw our shitbag opinions out at you every morning at 9 a.m.
100%.
And Mathieu St. Germain for being passionate about his disagreements with you, Jason. So let's not forget that what makes this country amazing is the ability to dissent, the discourse, the dialogue, and the disagreement. And that is one of the cornerstones of our representative democracy.
100%. And make sure that you thank a veteran for that today.